everybody. Welcome back to Two Tall Stitchers. I'm Jennifer, and this is my mom, Carol, and we're glad to be with you today.
Good morning. Welcome back.
It's been a fun morning here. We're just going to start calling him the Chipmunk Hunter. Has been on his worst behavior, so Mom has some scratches to show for it because he jumped a fence, and long story short, critter control is coming on Monday.
Those of you who follow me on Instagram, I posted the other day when he managed to jump that fence. I'm 6 feet tall, so the fence comes up to here on me, and he jumped it, okay? Yeah. And he's not a jumper. So the other
Only
day...
when there's a chipmunk around.
The other day I got him out, and I called the air conditioning people for the second time and said, I should have you on speed dial. He pulled the wires out again, so they came and fixed it. And so this morning I was still in bed, and my husband let him out, and all of a sudden I hear this wonderful noise, and I knew exactly where he was. So him in my nightshirt, trying to haul him out from under the fence. I'm not still don't know how he got in. I think he jumped again. I don't know. But anyway, I finally grabbed his collar, and then he laid down. He wouldn't get up. And so we had a little standoff where I called him some not very nice names. And finally he elected to come out, and he came in the house, and he came up to me, and I said, "You are a bad boy," and he hasn't looked at me since.
I came in, and he started to come to me, and I said, "I heard you've been a bad boy," and he was like, "Oh, you know."
Yeah. So that's what's left of my hand.
Yeah.
Anyway, digging under the fence and everything. Yeah, it was pretty bloody before, but yeah. So my morning started off with a bang, and so this is gin.
I said to her right before we started, I said, "Do you need me to go get you a shot of whiskey?"
Some days your days just don't start out the way you plan.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's start with some hellos.
Yes.
First of all, for everybody who's back watching us again, you know the craziness you get when you come here. So welcome back to that.
Yes.
And for those of you who are new, yes, we are this crazy normally. So welcome, and hope you enjoy it. And you saw some people in the last couple of weeks.
Yes. Beverly came into the shop, and unfortunately, she fell on Mother's Day and broke her arm and had to have surgery and has all kinds of fun stuff.
Wow.
So I hope you're feeling better, Beverly. It was very nice to meet you. And then yesterday, Cindy came in the shop, and we have met her. She came to the retreat in Shipshewana, and that was the first time we met her. So she came in yesterday. And so I got to talk to her for a while. Yeah. And then Nancy, who was in my stitch group, and we know through Girl Scouts and everything, she came in, and she comes in a lot. Yeah. But I still have to say hi, Nancy, because she watches this, and she comes a lot. Yeah. And then I think there was one other one, but, you know, I've slept since then, and I haven't had enough gin this morning, so I'm sorry if I missed you. I'm pretty sure there was one more person, but I'm just not all there today. All I can say.
All right. Well, we'll go to the quilt of the day, which is my quilt, and I'm mostly there. So this is, I think, several episodes ago, maybe one of our earlier quilt episodes, Mom showed you her jelly roll race.
Oh yeah, the blue and yellow one.
The blue and yellow one, yeah. So I thought I would bring mine. Mine is made out of batiks. It was a Bali batik pack. I can't remember what they call their
Did you do it that day with
their
the
jelly roll? Yeah, this is the one I did. We did a jelly roll race with the bee. We told you all about that in the last episode, and how one person had a much smaller jelly roll and somebody had a much bigger one. Mine was normal size, so this is my jelly roll race, and you can see, I think you did the same thing attached on the diagonal just to give it a little bit more interest. So it turns out to be just a great kind of lap size quilt. I quilted it with a pantograph called Popcorn, and it's a really fun one. And this is one that comes out in the spring and kind of is around the house spring to summer. So yeah, it's just a fun couch quilt.
And I don't think there's an official printed pattern, but if you Google jelly roll quilt or jelly roll race, then you can find it, and it will give you all the details about what to do. Yeah. You just be prepared. Have lots of bobbins.
Yeah,
and a full spool of thread. It takes a lot of thread, a lot of sewing, and it's really fun if you can do the whole thing at once. It was really neat. There were like 7 or 8 of us, 9. Yeah. If we can find the picture, which is from several years ago, we have a picture of everybody with their. If we can find it.
We looked for it last time. Okay. So anyway, if we find it, we'll put it in again. People since last time. Yeah, so that's our quilt of the day. All right. Life updates. Other than the adventures with the Chipmunk Country, you had a visit from a good friend.
Yes. Oh, by the way, Critter Control is coming Monday morning.
Yeah.
If I don't get out there and get that thing first myself tomorrow. But yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Some dear old friend, not old, well, long time friends came up. She is making jewelry, and she was in the Talbot Street Art Show, an exhibitor. And so we had very short notice. She said, guess what? I'm coming next weekend. I just got in.
Yeah.
So we got to see them. We had spent the evening with them and got to have dinner and talk and catch up. We just, because, you know, they moved from Houston, we moved from Houston, and now they're back in Fort Worth. And it was just so wonderful to see them. And we went down to see Jen, who was on the COVID watch. So it was kind of like,
tell you about
hi,
that
how are you? You know, I love you. I haven't seen you forever, but don't come close to me. Yeah. So it was a wonderful, wonderful night to see them. We really, really had a good time. Really had a good time. And the dog was just being wonderful. He got up on the couch and he sat next to her and he laid his head on her lap and she was like, oh, he's so wonderful. And her husband was like, he's just the greatest dog. So the next morning I sent them the picture of Idiot running around the air conditioner.
They could have come to get him before they left town.
Yes, I was very tempted. Take them with you, John. Take him with you.
All right. And my big activities in the last 3 weeks, I took my Girl Scout troop to Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. We had a great trip. I'll put a few pictures at the very end of the video. It was a really good time, and they're great girls. It was a little stressful before the trip because the mom who was going with me got COVID and did not test negative. And so 2 days before the trip, we're madly trying to find another parent, and it turns out that her mom quickly got registered and background checked for Girl Scouts, and then she went with us. So we had Mimi on the trip with us, and it was really fun, and all the girls enjoyed it, and it was just a good trip. But I think the funniest thing that somebody said to me, one of them said, do you know, I've been to more states with you than I've been to with my family.
Really?
Yeah, because we went to
Savannah
several years ago and driving south from Indiana, and then back up, we went a different way. So we had like 5 states that time and 5 or 6 states this time. So it was kind of funny.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
But it was really good. It was nice to be back in Philly, a city that I really like. And we had good weather. It's been super duper hot in the Midwest, I think across much of the country. But we were there before the super hot hit. So we only had one day that was really warm. The rest of it was really nice weather. Only one day with a little bit of rain. In DC, we got to the Pentagon 9/11 Memorial, and 5 minutes in, one of the girls said, I thought this happened in New York. And I realized, you guys weren't even born when this happened. Wow. So we had a whole history lesson on what actually happened on September 11th. And it was a really nice memorial. Now I've been to all 3 of them. And they're all done so nicely. We did a nighttime tour of the monuments, which was great. I've only seen a couple of them at night, and it was fun. And it was on a trolley bus, so they take you and drop you off, and you don't wind up walking like 17 miles from one to the other. But if you walk all the monuments, it's like 5 or 6 miles.
I want to do that because we walked a lot when we were there.
A lot,
when you were kids. Oh my gosh.
So that was really nice. And then we went to the African American History Museum, which is outstanding, and had to get tickets, but we were able to do that. I highly recommend if you're going to be in DC to take some time to see that museum. It's like all the other Smithsonian museums, really well done.
And there's the zoo.
And we went to the zoo, yes, and we saw 3 pandas sleeping. One behind a rock, so you just saw his tush. And the girls were so excited to see the pandas, and then we got in there and all 3 of them were sound asleep. But they still enjoyed it.
But the best part is when Jenna said to me, she said, and then after we got to the end of the zoo, we had to walk up the hill to get to the train station, the subway. Yeah. And I remember that from when we were there when the kids were younger. And that is a steep walk at the end of the day.
Yes.
And anytime.
And that was the day it was hot.
Oh,
so we got to the end. I made them all go in. I was like drinking an entire bottle of water. But we made it, and that night we had a really nice dinner at National Harbor. We stayed near Alexandria, so we went to National Harbor, had a lovely dinner together, and it was just overall a great trip. Yeah. And then we drove home on Thursday and spent 12 hours together in the car. And on Friday morning, right before noon, one of the kids texted, I just tested positive for COVID. And this one is a bit of a joker. So I wrote back and I was like, are you serious or are you kidding? And they said, no, I'm serious. So then all of us laid low for 5 days, and luckily everybody tested negative.
Oh, you did too, I guess. Yeah.
5 days. Yeah,
I hadn't talked to you since.
I did before I went back into work. So, so we don't know how that happened, that one had it and the rest of us did not. But I'm glad that we didn't take down the whole car.
But Mimi had COVID already.
Mimi had already had COVID, and also one of the scouts had already had COVID, at least one.
Wow.
Recently, within the last month. So, it's just crazy. And then since we've been home, the princess is working on a stage crew for a community theater play. So I've been back and forth to the theater because she doesn't have her driver's license yet. So we've been driving back and forth.
It's downtown. It's not close.
And forth. For all the rehearsals this week, and the show started last night. So she's having a blast. She's learning a lot doing a theater other than her high school theater. So that's been.
And what's really neat is that for Honor Society, she needs 50 service hours.
30 hours.
30 hours.
Yeah.
So she probably got them this week.
She's got them already.
Yeah. Because this was a volunteer position.
Yeah.
So that really, it's a double
it's nice.
dip. It's kind of nice to get that done.
All right. Well, why don't we jump into our questions? So the first one is our question for you last time. And as always, we love to read the comments, and I really like to see the interaction. But I saw this time so many likes where people had read other people's comments and given them the thumbs up. So we asked you, how long have you been stitching? And it was great fun. So here's the results, and I'll do a chart and we'll put it up in here as well. So I broke it into kind of big categories. Less than 5 years. We have 10 of you who are new to stitching.
Welcome.
We're glad you're here. Yep. We're glad you're hooked. We have 11 of you who have been stitching 5 to 10 years. 14 in the 10 to 20 year range. 13 in the 20 to 30 year range. And then this is the biggie. I did 30 to 49 years. 41 people. So huge group of people that started stitching in the 80s. Some of you left, some of you stitched consistently since then. A lot of you are back and forth between stitching and quilting, but 41. And we decided we're both in that category too. At different ends of 30 to 49, but we're both in that category. Yeah. And then we have 12 who've been stitching over 50 years. So congratulations to all of you.
And you guys in that last group, you have seen so much change in all the tools, the fabric, the patterns, the designers, the threads, everything that's come available over the years. Yeah. I know even sometimes I look through my patterns and I think, boy, is that one dated?
Yeah.
And I can't imagine if you've been stitching for more than 50 years.
I think I'll probably get it wrong, but I remember one of them was 71 years. She learned when she was 6 or 7, I think.
Wow.
So, yeah. So that was very fun. Our themes on this, a lot of you started or restarted stitching during the pandemic, or as you retired, or as you had an illness or an injury and you couldn't necessarily do other things you wanted to do. Stitching became a great hobby to keep you occupied while you were recovering. I loved all the stories of who taught them to stitch. A lot of moms, a lot of grandmas, sisters, cousins. There was one I liked that a lady saw another lady at the lunch table at work stitching and asked, "What are you doing?" And a week later they were in a cross stitch shop, or maybe it was Michael's at the time, something like that, buying stitch kits, and she's stitched ever since. And I said, now that's a good work friend who really takes you and gets you hooked on a new hobby. And then a lot of people who started a long time ago and left it for a period of time and have come back to it. So it's great to see that this is one of those hobbies that even if you don't do it for a long time, you can always come back to it. So
I'll have to bring some of my older pieces. Like I've got a couple downstairs that I've stitched back in the 80s.
I made a pillow for Grandma. I don't know if I've showed that. But I know I have that at home.
You need to bring your towel.
Yes. So maybe next time we'll do, make a note, and next time we'll do our old stitching to show you some old stuff. And we won't know the patterns, and we won't know where to get any of those. But yeah. And then Maureen, welcome. She's a newer subscriber to our channel, and she's been watching our older videos. And she said in Flosstube 3, there was a pillow in the opening, and I found it. I went back and looked. It's this one, which I finished in 2020. I think I stitched it and maybe finished it last year. I can't remember. And she asked, what's the pattern for this one? This is a Bent Creek piece called Patriotic Cracker. And I bought it at a Stitcher sale that we went to several years ago. So I don't know if it's still available. You could try Bent Creek's website, I think, and see if you could find it there. But it's such a cute pillow.
And you could put a note out on cross stitch unloading.
Yeah, as a
stitching unloading, whatever it's called. Cross
stitch unload, I think, on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's a group you can join to buy and sell. So there it is, and it's Bent Creek Patriotic Cracker. So it came in a little kit with the linen and the threads and the buttons. Yeah, everything was kitted together, and then I used Mom's cording tool and made my own cording and attached it. So yeah, I love it. It's actually, last episode, Mom showed you her little basket. We went to Target and I got a little basket, so it's in my little basket with a couple other patriotic pieces.
Hey, just a quick aside, the air conditioner's working.
Oh, good. Did you just hear it kick on?
No, I can feel it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so he didn't break it this time.
I've had the air conditioner here, people twice, and I can't afford $140 every 2 or 3 weeks.
And then Lady Legionnaire, and she told us her name. I think it starts with an L. Leslie. Sorry, I didn't write that down. Asked, what do we use to mark embroidery? So we both use different things. I use a micron pen.
I use that sometimes,
yeah, too. And this is one of Mom's. It's an 05, but I think I use an 01 or an 03.
Yeah, really fine point.
Really, as fine as you can get. And then Mom likes to use also the friction pens.
Now, the friction pen is one that disappears when you put heat on it.
Yeah.
So if you need to make a mark on a piece, you know, like where you want a corner or something like that, then you would use the friction pen, because you could just touch it with the tip of an iron and the marking goes away. And then it won't come back as long as you don't put it in the freezer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've never done that. So.
And these pens are widely available at quilt shops.
And Michael's.
And and then what's the place we went in Columbus? Blick?
Yeah, that was
I think
fantastic.
it's Blick Art Supply Store. And those of you who live in towns that have them, you're lucky. They had an entire wall of pens. It was
amazing.
Awesome. We're going to go back for that soon.
Yes.
So, okay. And then several different people asked about how we register for our retreat, the quilt retreat that we go to. That's not one that we put on. We attend it. A lady named Ruthie puts it on, and she's fabulous. And if you Google Threads of Mine Quilt Retreat, it pops right up at the top of the Google results. So you can get all the information there. And she hosts now, I think, 4 retreats a year. So even if you can't make it to one that we're going to be at, you can sign up. And I'm sure all her other ones are just as great. I mean, we're not there, but they're probably still pretty good. Okay, and then Jane asked, do we have military in our family? Because she commented how many patriotic things we stitched.
On my family side, my uncle was in the Navy, and my other uncle was in the Air Force, and another uncle, I think, was in the Air Force. But on my husband's side, my father-in-law was a major general in the Marine Corps, and his grandfather, his maternal grandfather, was a rear admiral in the Navy. Yeah. And both my husband and his brother served in the Marines. So we have...
And your son.
And my son. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, Eric. He doesn't watch
He's
this,
not
so I'm not in
watching.
trouble. Yeah, my son was in the nuclear Navy. He was in Crystal City, Virginia.
He was an actual, rocket scientist.
Yeah. He got quite a few commendations when he was in and everything. That was after he graduated from Stanford. He went in.
Yeah.
And so there is definitely military in the background. My in-laws were married in Peking.
Mm-hmm. Well,
many years ago. When she took a tramp steamer from Philadelphia through the Panama Canal to China to marry him. They met in the Philippines. We will not let the lurker in. Otherwise, this would be a 3-hour.
Yeah, we could do a whole show with him. We won't, though.
No, we wouldn't subject you to that.
We'll just turn on the camera and walk away. We've heard all the stories a million times. They're great stories the first time you hear them.
But not the 27th or the 2700th Yes.
All right. Well, you ready to get into some stitching?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Guess what, you guys? We started our berries. So way back at the beginning of this year, I think I laid down the gauntlet and was the first one to say, I think we should stitch berries this year. And Mom was like, great, another thing that you're signing me up for. And then we didn't do it. But now we're doing it. So we're both stitching an Erica Michaels pattern. I'm doing the berry from Stitch All the Things.
And I'm doing, I don't know what this is
Winter
called.
berries.
Winter berries. And I'm trying to do the winter one in the middle, which, as you can see, is very light.
Yeah.
And I posted a picture of that.
And you started yours a couple days ago. We'll show
Yeah.
yours first because
Okay.
I think we'll both need the.
I'm not taking it out of the frame, but okay.
I'll hold it. You can
So I started with the white as she had it, and you can see it barely. And I thought, oh, I don't know, I don't like that. So then I had this color that I got from Color and Cotton called Glacier Blue.
Oh, I like
And
that.
so, yeah, I do too. So I started it, I didn't start over, I just started with it. I haven't taken out the white yet.
Yeah.
So hold it a little closer, maybe you can see it better. And so it's going to be very pale. I don't know whether I should get darker blue fabric and use the white or...
No, I think it's going to be
I
pretty
think the blue
because
will be
there's
okay.
enough variegation in
Yeah.
that blue. Yeah.
So that's my start. So I actually am working on the
Great.
berry. I haven't finished mine,
And-
you know what yet, but... And you know I went overboard and bought about 6 berry patterns. Just so I would
Just
have,
in case.
just in
Yeah.
case. And there's 3 in here
Well,
and
they're
they still
quick
may
to
change.
stitch.
Yes, they are.
And I just started mine last night. And you're
me too.
stitching yours on Fabric Flare, right?
Yeah, something or other. I don't know what.
It's on the edge.
Yeah,
Hang
I know.
on. We'll
But I
go
mean,
back to
it's
hers.
a
This
piece out of my
is a
stitch.
Fabric Flare blue,
Oh, 28.
28 count.
Yeah.
I'm stitching mine on a piece of mystery fabric that came out of a bag of linens I bought at a Quilters Stitchers garage sale. Then we went to last summer, and I started that, and I got all the thin. It'll say stitch all the things. So I got all the thin. He's barking downstairs.
He's inside. It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
cute.
yeah.
Cute.
So good start. Hopefully that'll go quickly. And these are the colors for mine. It's all the called for
The green is covered up. Everything else.
weeks. Colors.
Yeah.
Nice muted colors. And I just really like it. It was an easy start last night while we were watching some TV.
Yeah.
So we'll both continue to work on this, right?
Yep. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm having fun. Once I get the color worked out. But I think I'm going to stay with the blue. Okay,
I like that
the
blue.
other thing I'm working on is the shop sample, and I'm really enjoying this. So as a result, I haven't stitched much else. But this is the Erica Michaels reindeer games, and I saw somewhere that she has Patriot games, and I
that's
gotta
right
find
up your
that. I gotta
alley.
find it.
Yeah.
Yes, that'll go in my bathroom. So this is as far as I've gotten. Probably not. And so I'm really having a good time with it, and it's
20 count.
20 count over 1
Vintage Country Mocha.
vintage
Ada.
with Ada, yes. And I don't like stitching on Ada, but it's okay. And so I have a lot of reindeer to stitch. I think I have still I have 4 more reindeer and a few more snowflakes, and then there's the elf and Dasher.
You're getting close to the corner.
I'm getting close, and then the border. So I'm doing pretty well. I worked on that a little bit at the shop yesterday, but then it got busy, and it's not really nice to tell customers they have to wait while you stitch.
Yeah.
So.
And one of the things that we talked about with the shop owner is that we should stitch models on different fabrics.
Yes.
We both probably prefer linens or even weaves.
Yes.
But we're consciously stitching some on Ada's just to make sure that she has a good variety around the shop.
And I have another one that I'm going to stitch, and I don't think I have it upstairs with me, but it's I showed you the last time. It's a let me see, it might be right here.
Okay.
No, it's downstairs.
Okay.
It's not, but anyway, it calls for either fancy floss or it calls to use 2 DMCs as a blend.
2 different colors.
2 different colors as a blend. And so I'm doing that instead of using the fancy floss, just so people can see that you don't have to have fancy floss to get the blends and stuff. I haven't started that because I'm really hooked on this reindeer games. But so I'm working on that. Yeah.
All right, and then my whips, I think I have 3 whips. So you've seen these before. So this is Be Kind, Be Happy, Be Well. And we won't argue about the color of this fabric this time. It doesn't show up real well. It's a very light purple. A lavender, you might say. And my little needle minder here is from my friend Beth. She made me a bunch of needle minders one year for my birthday. And it was hysterical because the card came with all the magnets inside of it. And I think it stuck to the mailbox. But yeah, so this is one she made for me. I think she bought buttons and then made them into needle minders. Yeah, it's a little gray cat.
Oh, that's cute. Oh, the cat one.
Like our little cat. So this one, I have a lot of this fill in. And I had one night this week. My brain was just like, I cannot count. But I thought, ooh, I can fill in that bee.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just straight stitching back and forth. So... once that'll be all filled in, there's another, like a stem here, a sheep,
you're really close to
the
being
finish
done.
of the house. Yeah, this should go pretty quickly, except for all that fill in.
Yeah.
Takes a long time.
Yeah.
All right.
Especially when you're working on purple.
I don't mind working on purple. The next one is my shop model for Persnickety, and it is Country Cottage Needleworks. Love lives here. And I started this one during Stitch Mania. I very much look forward to getting back to it. And I've stitched a couple of nights on this since you saw it last. And I finished the house.
Oh, wow.
And started the
border
around the house. And then there's another border around that. I thought if I didn't start the border and started the trees next to the house, I would never get to the borders. And also this is pretty mindless stitching too. When you just have to keep track of how many squares you stitch.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is all done with the called for Classic Colorworks on 32 count cream Belfast linen. So that one is coming along quite well. Oh, and that needle minder, that's from Julie, who came to our retreat, and I think she made these as well. Yep. She had a whole tin full of them, and everybody got to pick one out. She had, I think, blues, pink, purple.
Yeah, she had purple.
Yeah.
But I got a blue one.
So did I. Yeah. All right, and then my third one is the project that I took with me on the trip with the Girl Scouts. This is Mill Hill Dahlia. And I took this one because I could see. I didn't need my magnification. And I made some good progress.
Ooh, you did.
We did a lot during the days. Yes. And so most nights I came back and I crashed. But I did get a couple days of stitching on this. And then a day or two when I got home. So it's really, you're really starting to see the flower there. And when I put in that dark pink, it really gave it.
And that's a lot of stitching in this one. It's
a lot
basically
of
a full coverage.
And up here, I've started to stitch the part that just blends in with the background. You can see it there. But yeah, there's a lot.
It's a full coverage piece.
But it's good. I enjoy it. I'll keep plugging away on that one, and then the beads go on when you're done with all the stitching. So.
And that's another project. That's gonna be a lot
I don't
of beads.
mind beads though.
No, I like to bead. I like to bead. But
we'll have
just
to
stitching.
Bring some of our beading stuff when we talk about that sometime. Okay. And then finishes. I had one finish. I don't think you had any finishes. So this was Stitch Mania Start. This is Let's Talk Stitching by Hands On Design. And I'm doing this little one here to make the bag. And I finished it. You want to hold up these? These are the sulky threads that I use, some of which belong to my mother, so she'll get them back today. This is stitched on 28 count. Picture this plus slate.
It's hard.
I know.
Oh, up there. Well, anyway, there they are.
So there's the colors. If you would like my sulky color conversion, please send an email to our Too Tall Stitchers email, and I'll reply with it. It's hard to reply to a comment with that information. If I do an email, then I can copy paste if there's more than one of you. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. I love these colors. It's a little bit different from Cathy's original colors, but I'm really pleased. And then I just put my initials in the year right above and below the word hoop.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, but what I found is I didn't have any silver, so this jumps ahead to haul, but last weekend bought myself a new kit of sulky petites so that I could get those silvers, and the silver at the bottom is the one that I used.
Where'd you get it?
Amazon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to go to Sulky's website, but I already had to get some stuff from
Yeah,
Amazon, so
and
I was
you're
like,
proud.
throw it in the same box. So so I'm really happy with that one.
Cute.
And I don't know, are we gonna wait and you'll stitch this? We'll
Yeah,
make our bags
yeah.
together. Okay, so this
Yeah, I
one will
need the
wait for a
pattern.
little bit. No, you have the pattern because we both bought it, and you bought it twice. You liked
yeah,
it so much
That's right.
because we gave one away. Yeah.
Ooh.
So.
More gin.
All right, so I think that's all the. Oh no, it's not all the stitching. I was like, I don't have any FFOs, but wait till you
Okay.
see what she has to show.
All right. You remember I was working on the Great Pumpkin Alphabet? Well, guess what? It's framed and it's done. And I was going to do it in a plain black frame because I have several other long pieces like that I thought I could switch them out. But when I saw that orange frame, it was like,
perfect.
There is no question. And so you can move it up a little bit so you can see the letters and stuff. But I love it. Liz did a wonderful job.
And who framed it and where?
Liz down at Fancy Works.
Yeah.
And so if you decide to make this, and it's an old pattern, it was the Great Pumpkin Alphabet by JBW Designs.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can still find it or not. I found it down at Fancy Works. Oh, I've had it a year or two. Yeah. But it went so quickly. I started it on retreat and I got it done. And then I went down and I was like, yay. Okay, so that's that one.
That's the first one.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't show my previous finishes, but that's okay. And then this one, this was a frame that they had there, Freedom Rings. And
like a pre-made frame?
Yeah, I think it was pre-made. I think it was green, actually. I think Liz painted it. Yeah, this is the one she painted. And so I believe this is a Bent Creek. I've done it twice. I sent it to one of the fellas that I went to high school with.
Yeah.
As a,
it might be a trilogy.
I think it's Bent Creek.
Bent Creek.
I'm not positive. I have to dig it out. Yeah. But yeah, so she framed that one. And it's so nice when you find a ready-made frame and it's perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so that was that.
I haven't seen any of these live. She sent me pictures. But
and then this is my Merry Christmas. And again, I'd have to find the pattern. I don't know.
I think it's JBW also.
Could be.
Yeah.
And it's got a little red button at the top. So it's got glass on it, but she put spacers in to separate it so that the button didn't get smushed. So yeah, so this was exciting. This was another one I picked up the frame. I went, oh! So yeah, I really lucked out.
That was
and
great.
Then this one is for my best friend for her birthday last March. But she waits all the time. She knows it's worth it. And so this is finished. And this was Hello by Liz Matthew, and it's called I think Your Heart and Mine. Old Friends. That's what it's called. Yeah. So that's finished. And so that will get packed up and mailed off in the next couple days. Surprise.
Awesome.
Surprise.
And they look great.
Then this one is a previous finish, but since I didn't show it earlier, I'll show it to you now. I switched it out. This is the seasons, the 4 seasons, and this is summer.
Summer ABCs.
So, summer ABCs.
By Little House.
Little House, yeah. So
it's hard to show.
It's hard to show because
we'll start at the bottom.
Yeah.
And we can get most of the way up.
Yeah. So I have all 4 seasons done and stretched, and this is where I can switch them out. The frame is not cheap.
Yeah, and you use the same frame all year.
The frame was not cheap, but on the other hand, I can use it for 4 different pieces.
For 4 things, yeah.
And it might even work for some of the longer ones.
I think we've shown this before, but it has these little things on the back.
The turnbuckles, yeah.
And you just slide them out and switch your piece.
Yeah. Liz did that for me also at Fancy Works.
Great for seasonal stitches where you want to do all the seasons.
Really nice, yeah.
Awesome.
So those are my FFOs.
Very good.
Talk about exciting. Oh, shocking, I think is another word.
Okay, so I already showed my haul, which was the sulky threads.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I want to go back to berries real quick because I wanted to mention this and I completely forgot. So Helen D, who we'll link below, has also been hosting a berry sal this year. And she has way more information than we do. This is our first time stitching berries. She's like a berry expert. And so I wanted to share that she has a couple of printouts to help you understand how much fabric you need. And then these are like berry topper pieces, circles. Yeah. And we will link her berry tutorial video below, which is where she tells you how you can get these. But you'll have to go over to her site to get them. They're very helpful. As I pulled out my fabric, I laid it kind of on top of one of these to make sure I had enough fabric and it would fit.
Yeah.
So
she's great. She is so good.
And she's done a tutorial on all the prep.
Yep.
And I think a different one on putting the berry together, and now a new one that I haven't watched yet on the toppers.
Toppers, yeah.
So,
I haven't had a chance to catch it yet.
Yeah, we'll watch those when we finish our berries together.
Yes.
All right, so then haul. Did you have some haul?
Okay, when I went down to Fancy Works, it was a stitch day, and of course, why would I want to buy a pattern? But I bought the Heart and Hand Patriotic
Tiny Town.
Yeah. Heart and Hand Tiny Town, Patriotic Tiny Town. And I already have the Christmas Tiny Town. So I may have bought the fabric for this, but it's securely put away. It's securely put away. But anyway, so I when I walked in and I saw that, I was like, oh, great. Okay, and then this haul now. Okay.
Yeah, keep going.
You saw the bags we made last time, these bags that were from...
Quilt As You Go.
Yeah, Quilt As You Go. So I'm going to
Taylor.
make them for Christmas for 2 people who do not watch this Flosstube. So I went ahead and ordered jelly rolls from Green Fairy, and they were on sale. You really can't see the colors. It's called Hibiscus, and it's a pretty floral. So I have that jelly roll, and then I got this one, which is called Buttercup Blooms, and it's got a lot of blue because the person I'm making this for likes blue, like I do. Yep. And then since it was on sale and I was already ordering, I got this adorable little cutting mat. But it's so neat when you have small ones, and you need.
Yeah, and I like that it's dark.
Yes, it's dark. That makes a big difference when you're working with light stuff.
Yeah,
and I only ordered one. Sorry about that.
That's okay. No worries.
So
I have a little. You've given me a little green one like this. I think. Yeah.
So that was my haul, and so I've been pretty good. Not too bad.
All right. Well, I told Mom when I got here, I think I've done more quilting related than stitching related things in the last couple of weeks. So I'll share. Well, first I'll share the shirts that we made for our trip. So I used my scan and cut. Thank you again, Paula, who watches, who has told us how to do this. But we made shirts for everybody to wear, and we wore these the day that we went to the Smithsonian. So we were all in our red shirts.
Cool.
And I totally messed up. The letters were supposed to be black. With all the girls there, I literally, the scan and cut out 8 sets of Troop 266 senior trip letters, and I went, oh no. So everybody got their own color on their shirt. So I chose this rainbowy color. There was like a green, lavender, a light blue. So everybody had their own color. And then on the back, we put nicknames for everybody. So the princess's name is Jenna. I'm Jennifer. So all the scouts said, well, you need to be Big Jen and Little Jen. So we were Big Jen and Little Jen.
Aww.
And I just really enjoyed wearing our shirts together. Everybody saw them, noticed them. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I saw them in the pictures, but I didn't know what you had done with them.
Yeah.
Because it was crazy time before you left.
It was crazy time before I left. And then the morning of the trip, I decided I wanted to take my travel pillow because I didn't know if I would drive the whole way, and I thought I might need to sleep. Oh, and I woke up at 4:40 a.m. the morning we left on the trip, just because your brain works that way. And so I had a Christmas pillowcase on my travel pillow, and I never made another pillowcase. And I was like, if I take a Christmas pillowcase, they're gonna razz me like no tomorrow. So we met at 9. At 8:35, I ran down to my sewing room. And I pulled some of my Mary Engelbreit fabric, and I made myself a super quick travel pillowcase. So, and I couldn't remember how to do, there's some method where you can do it all in the cuff. I couldn't remember how to do that. So it's not my normal style, but it worked, and I love it. It's nice and bright, and nobody made fun of me. It took me 17 minutes. Oh my God. Because I kept watching the clock. I'm like, okay, we have to leave here by 5 minutes till 9, because we just live around the corner from the school where we met. But I was like, if I'm the one who's late, that doesn't look good. All right, do you want to share some of yours?
Keep going.
Okay, and then last weekend, we got home on Thursday. I had Friday off, so I had 3-day weekend and really couldn't go anywhere because of the COVID watch. So I went downstairs and I quilted this mini quilt that I made several years ago. and it's not finished yet. I have to put the binding on it, and I have to do all my tie-offs, bury all my threads, but I just put on my big girl pants, and I was like, I'm just going to figure out how to quilt it. So I'll bring it a little bit closer so you can see some of the quilting on it. I did kind of what I call custom quilting, where I didn't do an all-over pattern. Yeah, and I'm really...
It looks great.
Really happy with it.
Pretty.
So this is the third of a series. This is called Sunrise Over the Mountain. It's a Deb Karasik pattern, Karasik. And then there's two others, Harvest Moon, and there's one with a tree and a moon behind it, and I can't remember what the name of that one is. But my grand plan, I have like a wall over, like kind of a vaulted wall, I guess, in my living room in the front of the house, that red wall up high where the reindeer are. And my plan is to hang all three of them up there. So you have,
I want to watch you get up there.
Morning, noon, and night. We have a ladder.
I hope so.
So anyway, I still have to bind this and finish it off, but I'm really happy to have the quilting done on that one. And then the next day, still couldn't go anywhere. I pulled out these guys, which I made at our October retreat. And I started just to make one of these pumpkins, and I had so much fun I wound up making three. And I did them into, not a table runner, but this will be a wall hanging, a pumpkin stack. So I just added fabric on the sides, and I'm going to get this one quilted up so that it'll be ready by Halloween. Yeah. And I decided I'm going to give myself a challenge because I have the week of work. Our company has a shutdown the week of 4th of July. So I have a whole week off. So my challenge to myself is by the end of July, I'm going to finish 3 quilt UFOs and make progress on 2 more. Wow. And progress could be, like, this would count as progress because I took it from blocks into a top. But this is one I plan to finish. That'll count as one that I finished. So I just got to find one more to finish. Oh, yeah. And then progress on 2 others. Wow. I started the year off with a bang. I'm like, I'm going to get some UFOs done. And then So that's my plan that week that I'm off.
We were also going to start making Christmas presents in January, remember?
I did make one in January. I don't think I've made one since. Yeah.
We haven't done real well on that. Yeah. Okay, so for my quilting, there's a program called $2 a block. It used to be $1 a block, so I still call it that. But every month you go down to the quilt shop, and then we go to Backdoor, and you get 2 strips of fabric. You get the background, and you get the color, and then you also get the pattern, and you use thangles, which are paper. There's some over there if you want to pull them. Be right back. Yeah. That you lay your strips on, and then you you sew it, and then you take them apart. And this is another quilt I'm working. Well, this is this quilt actually, and so that's a thangle, and you lay them on the strip, and then you sew them on the dotted line, and you cut on the solid line, and then you come out with half square triangles, and they come in a number. Tons
all
of sizes.
Different sizes.
Yeah, large,
from
small.
Like half an inch. Here it says. From half an inch to 4 inches finished. Yeah. So these are 3 inches finished. Yeah.
So I haven't been sewing a lot because, Cathy and Pam and I sew every week, and we just haven't because there's some things that have come up we haven't been able to. And so we sewed last week, and I had my blocks all made, but I'm working on finishing it now. So I finished.
You had your pieces all made.
I only had the small center block made.
Oh, the center. Okay.
And so this is what I've done since last week.
That's pretty.
That one.
And this, do we know what year this pattern is?
From last year.
Last year.
2021.
So it's the 2021 Thangles Buck-a-Block that you can check at quilt shops to see if they still have it. Yeah.
And I need 24 of these little devils, and I have 9 done. So they're coming along. Yeah. And you can see where I did, this is the big thangles. That's a 3 inch.
This is like, here, hold this one up because they're reverse.
Yeah.
So these are the same ones, one's dark. Yeah. So
one's
you make dark, 2 of each.
Yes, you make 2 of each month.
Nice.
And then this is the last
one. Oh, the last one.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been busy with that. Nice. And that's been fun. And then you may remember this. This was the challenge that Stephanie gave us to use a tool that we had never
Last
used
year.
before, at least last year.
Yeah.
And so I did it, and guess what? I took it to the retreat, and
Made a back.
Jennifer made me make a back.
Here, let's show your back.
Yeah, this is the
It's kinda
back.
Fun.
Yeah, so this was my leftover fabrics, which is really nice because then I used it up. And so then my friend Pam quilted it, and I put the binding on, and I put the sleeve on, and it's ready to hang. I just have to write my name on the back. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So it's kind of exciting. Finished.
Yay!
Finished,
We'll
yes.
take a picture and put that on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
really
yeah.
pretty. I
So that was
love
my
this
challenge.
fabric.
Yes, I do too.
I wish you'd bought yards and yards of it so we can make project bags.
Yeah. And I just realized I totally sold the sleeve on the wrong end.
Wrong end.
No.
Yeah, flowers are
No,
going.
flowers go. Yeah, okay. We won't even think about that. Okay.
It's all good.
But yeah, it's fine.
Nobody's gonna look that closely.
No. So anyway,
All right.
we both got a lot of quilting done.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
It's great.
Working on it.
All right. Well, I think that's everything we have to show, right?
Yep.
What are your plans over the next few weeks?
Get rid of the freaking chipmunk. You see, we have long doors that have glass in them, so there's only like this much wood at the bottom. Well, I have the dog's food sitting in front of the one door that we don't use. And so when he's eating, the chipmunk sits on the other side, and he sits up and he says, "Hi, how are you? I'm out here. Are you enjoying your lunch? Is it breakfast or is it dinner? What are you doing?" And he wags his tail and everything. And so the bottom part of both doors out of my breakfast room are covered with slobber. So you haven't seen it yet.
I haven't. No.
The other day I was up, Cathy and I were sewing up here, and we could hear him. He was down there crying
Crying and
because
barking,
the chipmunk was
yipping,
there. Yeah.
And when he cries, he really cries. It's not like
yeah.
a soft little whimper.
Oh no.
It's like
no.
a oh.
I think he's dying.
Yes.
So yeah. And the chipmunk just loves to run by and say, "Hi, how are you? Haven't seen you yet today. Let's go over by the air conditioner. That's more fun. Or let's knock the stone wall down again." So that's my plan, is
That's
to
your plan.
get my air conditioner secured and get rid of the chipmunk.
My plan is to get that berry stitched up quickly.
Oh yeah, I'm going to work on that too.
Yeah, and I work a week and then we have a week off. Like I said, a company shut down, so I'm very much looking forward to that because we're not going anywhere.
Good.
So that means a whole week around at home. Maybe we can do a sewing overnight.
Yeah. Yes.
And I might go work in the shop a day. I think Vicki has some stuff she wants me to do at the shop, so I might get some shop time in. Maybe I'll try and do that on Friday so we can be there together. Yeah. So if anybody wants to come visit us Friday, July 7th or 8th, whatever that Friday is, after the 4th.
She can take the day off.
Yeah, and I'm going to start working on some UFOs and keep stitching.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We have plenty to do. It's not like we don't have anything to do.
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll finish up asking our question of the day.
Yes.
Do you want to let them know the question?
Yes. And this time, actually, we planned ahead and we know, and we're not sitting here going, what do you want? We want to know what you do when you're stitching, quilting, knitting, any kind of crafting that you do. Do you watch TV? Do you hole up in your room? Do you go out and sit under the shade of a tree, or you
listen to books?
Listen to books.
Yeah.
Do you watch? Do you take it in the car with you so that when you're doing carpools and stuff, or if you're traveling? I can't really stitch when I travel. I can knit, but tell us how you do it. What you do when you're doing it. And is it your relaxing time and that kind of stuff? So so
it's mostly relaxing until you have to rip stuff out.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you find out that the color doesn't show up on your fabric at all.
Oh.
So, but it's fine.
Yeah.
But so.
Alrighty. Yes. Well, thanks so much. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not a subscriber.
And give us a like.
Give us a like and leave us a comment with your answer.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to follow us on Instagram and see more Chipmunk Hunter stories, I'm at Jen Quilter and you're at Grand Stitches. And
maybe at Grand Kills, but
yes.
if you can't find Grand Stitches, check Grand Kills. Chipmunks.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'd probably get kicked off Instagram for that one.
Yeah. So thanks so much for spending part of your day or your evening with us, and we hope you all have a good time and look forward to seeing you again in a few weeks.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.